Being grateful, this pill I'm talking about, increases your spirituality. Now consider there are 3 levels of gratitude, and at each level, our soul's capacity deepens. Level 1, experience contentment. I wanted a muffin and I got a muffin. 2, experience meaning. We are here for a unique purpose and therefore grateful for all of life's lessons. 3, we dwell in pure joy, the simple response of our heart to this given, gifted life in its fullness. Brother David Steindl-Rast once said, "The root of joy is gratefulness. It's not joy that makes us grateful. It is gratitude that makes us joyful." As we announced, the focus of today is gratitude. And I notice again, as I always do when you speak, in your introduction, I feel totally given to and totally appreciative, not just for your in the moment clarity of your words and your speaking, but also I imagine you before this, all of the preparation, you're making notes, your study, all of it, so you can give me this gift in the morning. So thank you, Christina. All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me today. And I want you to know that the topic, the focus of today is muffins. Muffins. Now, this morning is really about muffins. Now, my wife, Betsy, frequently makes muffins for me in the morning. And regardless of whether they are oatmeal or blueberry or banana or apple or walnut or molasses or sugarless or eggless or corn or whatever texture they have, I tend to say, "These are good, thank you." And she receives that, Betsy does, but it's a little flat. And I was talking to my friend, Dr. Warren Farrell, who among other things teaches relationship classes. And he says, that's not bad, but you're missing the point. And he pointed out that what Betsy wants to know is that in regard to the muffins, and in regard to everything else, she wants to know that I'm aware of all her intentional choices in the work she did to gift me, and that I appreciate her and all she did for me in gifting me with those muffins. Betsy, like all of us, longs to be seen, known, and heard. Each one of those ingredients in the muffins required a specific choice, an intention that she did and she made for me. She wants to know that I know. She wants to know that I'm paying attention. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And I got to say, in those few moments when I'm conscious enough to remember to be specific in my appreciation and my gratitude, like, wow, Bets, I noticed those blueberries and chocolate bits and walnuts were terrific together. Did you use sugar or something else? I actually said this recently, and she quickly pulled out the recipe and went through the whole recipe with me so I could see where she made the choices, and she was excited to do it. There's a magic in that kind of appreciation. There's a magic about what it creates in the world. Betsy just lights up when I do it that way. And even though it's not muffins, really, it's Betsy I'm appreciating. It works, and I actually get more muffins that way too. Now, in thinking about this, like, okay, I got it yesterday, just yesterday, she brought home melons. I cut up the melon, ate the melon, and said, wow, that was good. And she says very specifically, this actually happened yesterday, well, I bought them because I thought you'd like them. And in the parentheses, You idiot, you're supposed to appreciate me for what I did for you, and you missed it again. Okay, so I'm working on it. Hopefully I'm getting better. Now, Marc recently said that in the midst of our existential risks and existential threats, to be Homo Amor, we must be willing to live in the world that's already changed. We must be willing to live the dream now. One of the most powerful practices for doing that is gratitude, being grateful. There does seem to be some magic in being grateful. We haven't worked out exactly how to say it, but I think expressing thanks is a first value. Across time, ingratitude has been treated as a serious vice. Quote, ingratitude is the essence of vileness, wrote Kant. David Hume opined that ingratitude was the most horrible and unnatural crime that a person is capable of committing. Now, so just for that for a moment, now I'm going to turn my computer, and if I eliminate Zoom in this process and I disappear forever off this Zoom, thank you for being here and good luck to the rest of you. But for a moment, let me turn the computer. I'm not sure you can see that sign down there, but what it says is, and my wife placed it there, I love you. Have I told you lately that I love you? And she wants to make sure that when I look down that way in my office, I see the sign. Now, continuing this journey, I'm looking out, I'm in Central Oregon, and I'm looking out my window. I hope you can see at least somewhat. There's this meadow off to the right. You can't see, there are mountains, trees, bird feeders, birds come. It's just gorgeous. And most mornings when I sit down here, I say, okay, all of reality, thank you for gifting me personally with this beauty, with this aliveness. If you look, you can see a bird down there moving a little bit. It's pretty tiny, I'm sure. But thank you, all of reality, for gifting me personally. Hold on, we're going to turn back. I'm still here at work. This is good. All right. Now, and as you've heard before, when Einstein was asked what he thought was the most important question a human being needed to answer, his reply was, is the universe friendly or not? Practicing being grateful is practicing answering Einstein's question with the answer, yes, it is. Yes, the universe is friendly, and is friendly to me personally. And when I am being grateful, I create the words of that yes in the world, in me and in others. Today, we'll explore some distinctions and practices of gratitude and consider the question, what might be possible for living my life as a grateful person? And how might being grateful help me and the world to live the dream now? My intention today is to encourage, persuade, challenge, allure, cajole, sell you enough that you will do at least one of the following homework assignments that it should be appearing in the chat box, and either write them down. You'll get a Google Doc with these homework assignments, and I'm hoping you'll do at least one of them tonight. The value of anything I say today will be realized when you're doing the homework, at least one of them tonight. All right. So number one, if this is in the chat, you can look at it or take notes. Number one, homework. Begin a regular journaling practice, a gratitude journaling practice, by writing in detail about the best gift you received today. Now, it sounds sort of mundane to write in a journal about what you appreciate, and I don't recommend you do it more than every few days. Every day tends to create a fatigue about gratitude, but it's powerful. And in the last many years, the academics and science have been studying these practices. And in one particular study, They made 3 groups. Group 1, you're to write once a week for 10 weeks, 5 things you're grateful for, just in a sentence. Another group, 5 hassles you had. And in a third group, 5 circumstances that affected you. 3 different groups, 1 entry a week for 10 weeks. And even with that simple exercise, the gratitude group, by how they measured it, was 25% happier. And not only that, the gratitude group exercised 30% more. Now that's just from 1 entry, 5 things once a week for 10 weeks. So 1, begin a gratitude journal. 2, write and deliver live a gratitude letter to someone important to you, however you do that. Have them feel seen, known, and heard. Maybe let them know how their unique gifts affect you. Mother Teresa once said, there's more hunger for love and appreciation in this world than for bread. People around us are starving for appreciation and acknowledgement, and we have the ability to give them this gift on a regular basis in a genuine way. Did you ever hear anybody say, I feel too appreciated? Probably not. More likely, I feel not appreciated. 3, homework. Thank 1 invisible person who is directly or indirectly in service to you. By the way, if you've ever gone out to dinner with Marc, you will notice that he always finds out the name of the server. And he says he always does that. He would not be served unless he recognized who was the server. Or talk about invisible people. You know, one of the classic examples, you know, in New York City, people don't pay much attention to the garbage collectors because they mostly are invisible. They do their work at night. And then every once in a while, the garbage collectors go on strike, and everybody realizes how important they are as they become visible. So thank 1 invisible person. 4, write 1 page. If tomorrow were the last day of my life, how I would be is. Then when you wake up tomorrow, take 5 breaths, fully appreciating each breath that you take, and celebrate that you're in the game to take those breaths. Number 5, spend 1 hour for things to be grateful for. Spend 1 hour searching for things to be grateful for, or just 5 minutes if 1 hour is too long. And please know that the scientists, the studies show simply searching is valuable. The searching itself, the tuning your radar screen to look for things to be grateful, is valuable in and of itself, even if you don't find a lot, and you probably will. 6, write 1 page expressing gratitude to God or reality, the field, the cosmos, whoever or whatever, for gifting you with the unique gift that you are. And be specific about what that gift is and how it impacts others. Okay, those are the 6 homeworks for tonight, later today. Again, the value of anything I say today will be in as you discover and experience the homework in that practice. So with that, I turn now to David and our code for the day. David?
Thank you, Terry. And I'm grateful for you, Terry, for being part of this community. You know, your decades of experience, both with, you know, with Marc, but also with your work at LifeSpring and with all your coaching clients, and just being a, you know, an elder in the community with all of your wisdom. I appreciate your keen observations that you make and your practical advice and counseling you've made to me over the years. So welcome, everyone. Right now, this is when we actually consolidate the teachings or the topic of today into a code. And remember, we're doing this because we're participating in the evolution of love, right? The codes are a way to actually focus our attention to evolve the way we see ourselves and the way we see our world to participate in something larger. So today's code is very simple, but it gets to the point. To be Homo Amor, we must be willing to live in the world that's already changed, to live the dream now. To be Homo Amor, we must be willing to live in the world that's already changed to live the dream now. And I turn my word back to you, Terry.
Now, in recent times, as I said, the psychologists and the neuroscientists and so on have begun to, I would say in the last 20 years, to seriously study gratitude and what happens when people are being grateful in both its interpersonal and its scientific, its chemical effect on the human body and human interaction. Now, let me start today by putting it this way. Would you be interested in a pill that was free, except it might require a little time and energy and courage, and had no side effects, which could accomplish the following? Imagine you get to take this pill free, no side effects. One, it made you more attractive. It made you more attractive to others. And thereby, I would guess, produce more and better sex. Now, I got some of you interested that weren't interested before, I'm sure. Would you be interested in a pill that increased your intimacy and connection with others? Produced an increased sensitivity of the connection between us and everything that creeps, crawls, sways, clings, or walks. And think about this. By the way, saying thank you, I say, will probably help the global intimacy disorder. All right. Would you be interested in a pill that elevated your sense of purpose and meaning, made life feel more important to you? An elevation which makes you bigger, greater, uplifted, inspired to be better, called forth, leads to a longer life, produces lower risk of heart attack. Consider evolution rewards those with a sense of purpose. Being grateful is estimated to add 7 years to your life. By the way, what would you do? What could you do with 7 more years of life? All right. Again, I'm hoping you're thinking about doing your homework tonight. Would you be interested in a pill that increased your protection from illness? It would decrease stress hormones and increase endorphins, increasing your resilience to stress. Imagine a pandemic of gratitude, by the way. Just think about that. Suppose gratitude spread the way COVID did. Would you be interested in a pill that improved the quality of your sleep and produced all the values that would produce? Would you be interested in a pill that alleviated depression, reduced suicidal thoughts? Now, note, positive emotions cause release of endorphins in the body, leads to a relaxed, open heart. Negative emotions, worry, anger, hopelessness, dump adrenaline, constricting blood vessels, raising blood pressure, closing the heart. It's almost impossible to feel grateful and victimized at the same time. It's almost impossible to feel grateful and victimized at the same time. Feeling grateful generally overrides any other emotion we are currently experiencing. And you get to choose whether you're going to feel grateful or not. It's impossible to feel the positive emotion of thankfulness and a negative emotion as anger at the same time. Gratitude births only positive feelings: love, compassion, joy, and hope. Think about living the dream. Do you want that in the world you want? When we focus on what we are thankful for, fear, anger, bitterness melt away. Again, your choice. Would you be interested in a pill just increased your motivation, including, as I said earlier, to exercise? Or a pill that made you more effective in handling challenging situations? When you're fearful and stressed, you're sort of in this fight or flight tunnel. You only have essentially 2 choices: fight or flight. which is, as the red and blue people argue with each other, that's pretty much the discussion we have. Being grateful widens our frame of reference. It opens the aperture for more options and seeing solutions. From here, fight or flight, you see more options, all right? Allows you to see the miraculous in the common. Appreciate the muddiness of mud. A mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the cosmos. Like young children, gratitude makes us young again, allows us to see the world for the first time like we did when we were children, allows us to be present. Again, the delight in the muddiness of mud. Being grateful, this pill I'm talking about, increases your spirituality. Now consider there are 3 levels of gratitude, and at each level, our soul's capacity deepens. Level 1, experience contentment. I wanted a muffin and I got a muffin. 2, experience meaning. We are here for a unique purpose and therefore grateful for all of life's lessons. 3, we dwell in pure joy, the simple response of our heart to this given, gifted life in its fullness. Brother David Steindl-Rast once said, the root of joy is gratefulness. It's not joy that makes us grateful. It is gratitude that makes us joyful. Next, for our magic pill, cures perfectionism. We are perfectly acceptable in all our imperfection. Allows us to enter the highly enlightened state of nerdvana, not nirvana, nerdvana. Like, I am a nerd, I've always been a nerd, I will always be a nerd, there's no hope. That kind of nerd. I accept my own nerdness and I go for it anyway. That's nerdvana. It's a higher state of enlightenment. In other words, you're perfect and you get your perfect. And once you get that, you get to get around to getting better and improving. Gratitude. Gratitude gives you a stronger impulse, this pill, for giving. And of course, the giving is the getting, like that old John Denver song, Heart to Heart says, where love's coming from is where love's going to. Now, all of those values that I mentioned, all of those benefits have been scientifically studied, proven, evaluated in different kind of settings in the last 20 years. And suppose we took the pill. Would that help us, do you think, to live our dream now? I say most likely. Now, gratitude, that's what the pill is, being grateful. What is gratitude? Gratitude is the affirmation of goodness. Gratitude is the quality of being thankful or warmly appreciative of goodness, kindness, or benefits received, like muffins. Gratitude is the affirmation that there are good things in the world, gifts and kindness, benefits that we have received. Gratitude is acknowledgement that other people or sources give us many gifts, big and small, to help us to achieve goodness in our lives. Gratitude arises when an individual, the receiver, perceives that another person or source, the giver, might be God, the universe, luck, the field, fate, or whatever, has intentionally acted to improve the receiver's well-being. And of course, you get to choose how you see that happening. You're the radar tuner. Betsy intended those ingredients for me. When, I see that when I'm awake and when I'm tuned to it and when I'm conscious. Note, expressing appreciation and saying thank you are gratitude in action. Both are a sharing of your gratitude, so the other person gets it. That is, you place your gratitude in them. A rule of thumb, not totally true, but a good rule of thumb to operate from, is that who you are is how you show up in other people. and you're responsible for that. It's your job to create you and them. So if they get your gratitude and appreciation, you are a grateful person. If they don't get it, you are not. I invite you to accept that challenge of being fully responsible for sharing yourself, so you show up in other people grateful. So your gratitude shows up in someone else. Now, there are 4 facets of gratitude. You might want to reflect on yourself as I go through these. 1, intensity. How strong do you feel gratitude when you feel it? 2, second facet, frequency. How often? How often do you feel grateful? Once a day, once an hour, once a week? Not much at all? Just note. What elicits it? Big or little things? 3, span. The number of domains in which you experience gratitude. Around your family, on your job, in nature, community, sports team. Where do you feel that gratitude? And let me digress for a minute. I want to talk about the domain of work and gratitude, since a lot of us spend a lot of time at work, maybe not so much in the office now as we used to, but still. In one study by Wharton and Harvard Business Schools, when the boss moved to saying thank you on a regular basis, workers became 50% more productive. So those of you who are around workers, please say thank you to improve our economy. However, research has also found that people are less likely to feel or express gratitude at work than any place else. In their study, they found on a given day, only 10% of people at work say thank you to colleagues. 60% of people report they never or very rarely express gratitude at work. The result, we fear, is that too many people are feeling unappreciated and taken for granted at work. And organizations as a whole are missing opportunities to create healthier, more fulfilling workplaces, or if you will, to live the dream. The Department of Labor reports the number one reason people leave their jobs is because they don't feel appreciated. And of course, given the amount of time we spend at work, our well-being at work helps dictate our well-being at life. 4th facet, density, sort of like roots. The number of people through time you feel grateful for a single outcome or life experience. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if I'm just sitting here, I can, look around my office. There's the picture that I just showed you. I love you. Somebody painted that. Somebody made that. Somebody created the frame for me, so Betsy could give it to me. And I look outside and I see all of nature there, and I go, wow, gifted me personally. And then I think about, I'm looking through a window that at one time somebody built this house, put that window in so I could be here for me, so I could have this office space. And not only that, the electricity is on so that I can talk to you and we can have this call. And somebody laid the wires, and somebody built the road that the truck that laid the wires was on, and somebody taught the guy how to, lay the road and do the road. And not only that, the police were out there, sort of protecting me from speeders and stuff like that. And oh, back to electricity. God darn it, back in time, Thomas Edison invented electricity so that I could have this moment with you on Zoom. Thank you, Thomas Edison, for your 10,000 failures. And thank you, Thomas Edison's parents, for all that you did to love him so that he can withdraw the 10,000 failures to have electricity so that we could have this Zoom call. Density, roots, how expanded, how far around and back do you let your gratitude for our inner connection get you? Another way of looking at gratitude, there are 2 kinds of gratitude. Gratitudes of exchange, which involves equity, reciprocity, obligation, somewhat transactional, which is good. And you want to be aware of it, you want to do it. When you borrow a lawnmower from your neighbor, there's an expectation he's going to give the, when you want to borrow, when he wants to borrow your rake, there's a, it's a give and a get kind of thing, and it's reciprocity. Need to be aware of that in the world. It's a good thing. MJ Ryan, in her little book, Attitudes of Gratitude, wrote about her college roommates bringing home a friend from college. And this girl, MJ Ryan said, I made the bed, I made her special foods, like I gave her the car, we arranged her thing. She did all this stuff for this friend. And when the friend left, she didn't say a word of thank you. And Ryan says, I didn't do it so that she'd say thank you, but I don't think I'm going to invite her again, just because something happened. There was like a first value violated when she didn't say thank you. So now, second kinds of gratitude of caring, love, and bonding, a kind of gratitude that we experience when we give from love with no strings attached. And when given that way, it tends to be, not always, but it tends to be received that way. You tend to create the dream you want in the world. Now, looking at all those benefits of gratitude, if it's so good, what keeps us from expressing gratitude? What must we overcome as a culture or as individuals for gratitude to flourish, i.e., for us to flourish? Great question. I'm not going to get into much of it, but I invite you to consider and to look. There are myths around gratitude. One is, gee, if you're grateful, you'll get lazy, sort of Pollyanna. It's not true. Science says the opposite happens. Another myth born of the win-lose metrics in our life is people who get grateful get eaten, often at work. Again, that's generally not true, although it needs to be a little more nuanced than that. Entitlement thinking. If we think that, if we're entitled, it eradicates the awareness of a gift. And of course, it takes some effort and some courage to risk being vulnerable in expressing gratitude, even about muffins. So, in conclusion, thank you for letting me speak with you today. I, as always, I've got more than I have given, I'm sure, in this process, and from you being a willing audience. And let me say, to live the dream, say thank you more often. To live the dream, be specific about muffins. I'm sure Homo Amor would be very, very specific in saying thank you about muffins. And last, before I turn you over to David, I hope you do your homework, at least one, all of them. I think you'll find that there's magic in doing the homework.